One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, boy do we have a treat for you. That is the One's Ready podcast has a treat for you, not the Peaches podcast. Grimsy News, we just had him on. He's blowing up on X, he's blowing up on TikTok. Dude is making phenomenal political skits from his car, putting people in trunks. It's hilarious. So make sure you check him out. And that's what this episode is about. But before that, if you head over to onesready.com, and then you see up at the top right where it says prep partner discounts, that's where you can get all of our partners, right? But for now, I want you to pay quick or close attention rather to Attack Elite for any of the kind of gear that you want to get to help you prepare for the Special Warfare Pipeline, Buds, Ranger School, Special Forces Assessment and Selection, or you just want to get better. They've got rucks, they've got high volume masks, snorkels, watches, goggles, everything you need. There's no promo code with them anymore. If you click on any of these links here, that'll take you straight to their site and it'll generate a specific promo code for you to use to get yourself a discount. Highly recommend going and seeing them. And then additionally, while you're at it, because you need a program to train with, right? Modern Athlete Strength Systems has you covered. So hop on over there, click on any of these links here or any of the pictures. They've got two programs in particular that they use with Train Heroic app. They've got the Warfighter and then they've got the Warfighter Elite, right? There's two different payments there, but this will get you there with a discount. Just click on the links, no promo code required. However, if you do decide to use a promo code, you can do it. It's just a little bit more funky, but click on the links. It'll get you a discount and you'll be set up and good to go. But for now, please enjoy this next episode with Grimzy News. We talked about being a barber. We talked about him doing all the skits from his car, all the kind of recent going viral kind of things that he is going through right now, which is wild because I've never experienced any of that. And we talked about the conversation actually went a whole bunch of places where I didn't expect it was going to go, but I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm hoping that Grimsy will come on again and just chat because I just enjoyed the conversation. He's a bro, absolute bro. So, all right, enjoy. Later. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. You're in the team room and I have Grimsy with me. And if you guys, unless you've been hiding under a rock someplace, dude, you people have for sure seen you. So, dude, welcome to the show, man.
Hey man, I appreciate it, bro. I just appreciate the platform, man.
Well, I think you've had a platform for a while. So admittedly, like we're not on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok.
Right.
And that's kind of where you originally started, right?
Right. I mean, and the crazy thing about TikTok is I really never even used TikTok. I mean, I posted videos here and there. And it kind of just took off out of nowhere, man. I mean, I've been making content for a while. Whether it's paintball content or haircut and barber videos. And just recently, I think it's been about a month. It's been about a month since I started doing these videos.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's been crazy.
Well,
I'm
dude,
not
you
gonna
have
lie.
endless content.
Yeah, bro. I mean, they keep me well fed, bro. They keep me well fed. I can't lie.
Have you always been interested in politics and stuff like that?
No. So, okay. I mean, growing up over here, like, cause I'm in Illinois, and growing up around the people I grew up with, I mean, politics don't matter to us. You know what I mean? I mean, you see the normal push stuff like back when cause I originally I was never on the right side of things. So when the Black Lives Matter movement came out, you know what I'm saying? I was all in on that and all in on a couple different things. But I never really like researched anything. You know what I mean? It wasn't until like right before this last election that I really started looking into things.
And isn't it amazing that when you actually start doing research yourself and you get the full context, like let's take yesterday, for example, right? Like I'm going to air this on Monday probably, right? So it'll still be fresh in people's minds.
Right.
But you take what happened yesterday in the Oval Office with Trump, JD Vance, and Zelensky, and the clip that everybody's showing is anywhere between 2 minutes to 5 minutes, right?
Yep.
That's the clip that everybody's showing.
Mhm.
But if you actually watch the entire I think it's about 40, 45 minute
Yep.
um interaction where all these negotiations, like this is what it was. It was negotiations. It wasn't for the press. Like Zelensky wanted the press back there. So which Trump and JD Vance are like, "Well, okay, like that's kind of weird, but all right, that's fine. We're transparent. We got nothing to hide." And that's the way those conversations really go behind closed doors. It just kind of
Yep.
got exposed to the media
Yep.
because dude got caught slipping. Really?
Yeah, I mean, he wanted that platform, man. You know,
Yeah.
he wanted a platform to talk about all the things that he wanted to talk about and kind of push to the American people. I just don't think he expected, Trump and Vance to call his bluff on that, man. I mean, you got to think like that day, it was like a normal day for me, right? I wake up, I get ready for work, I go to work, and I look at my phone and I've got like 100 mentions. I'm telling you, bro, I got like 100 mentions of just look at this, you have to do this, can't wait for this, look at this. And mind you, I've only been doing this a month and I've seen mentions from people for me to want to do something. This was a whole different level.
Yeah.
And mind you, I'm at work, mind you, I do all of these videos on my lunch break.
No shit. Really?
Yeah, so I sacrifice my lunch break to record the video, and depending on how long the video takes to record, I edit in between haircuts. I'm a barber. So
Okay, cool. I figured that because
right.
you got a slick cut, like that shit's
Yeah,
crisp.
yeah, yeah. So I'm 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 like, what is going on? So I seen a small clip and I'm like, oh no. So, I pop the headphones in and I do a lot of my research like that. While I'm at work, I just throw the AirPods in and I listen to, like press briefings and stuff like that. So, I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going on here. There's a and it's so hard with these kind of videos because people's attention span is not is not very high, right?
Right.
You got to catch them real early. So to be able to take that entire meeting and turn it into a 2 minute 45-second video is tough because
Yeah.
all of my videos, it's not just bullshit that I throw in there. You know what I mean? It's things that I've researched. Could I be wrong? Could I be right? Sure, we all make mistakes, right? So now while I'm cutting hair, I'm listening and I'm taking notes of all the things that happen, and I get to the part where it all goes down, and I just turn the clippers off, and I'm like, oh no. So now I'm locked in, right? I'm locked into what's going on. I've stopped cutting hair at this point, and I'm just watching, and I'm like, oh, you have no idea what you just done, buddy. You have no idea what you just done. That like, because people don't really get to see that, right? People don't get to see that. So and you get a lot of comments of like, man, it feels so good to be American again.
Yeah.
And this moment was one of those moments, man. You hear it, you know what I mean? Just you have Trump and Vance basically tag teaming because I don't, you can't walk into that room and show that level of disrespect.
Nope.
You got the wrong administration this time.
Yeah.
It was not gonna go. So now, I gather all my points and I just sit in the car and I hit record and I say lines and you know what I mean? Whatever I like. Mind you, like by the time I get done with these videos, I have 150 clips
I
of me
bet.
just, people always ask me like, can we get bloopers? Like you don't want to see my bloopers. I spaz out in my, you know what I'm saying? Just stutters and things that I mess up on. But this one right here was something different. And you just felt it. You felt it in the air of like, there is no way they let this slide.
And I'm glad. And that's, I mean, I'm not going to say what you voted for, but I definitely voted for this for
Oh
sure.
yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
this is what I wanted.
Oh
And
yeah.
I wanted somebody to be strong. I wanted somebody to come in and slap some people around if they needed to be slapped around, because I think that we've been taken advantage of way too long.
100% agree.
So, like, as you're listening to this, did you stop clipping, right?
Mhm,
What
mhm.
is the dude that you're trimming up? Is he just kind of like, what the hell's
Oh,
going on? Like, what are
it's
we
one of
doing?
my it's one of my regulars, you know what I
Oh,
mean? So
okay.
I just let him know, like, "Yo, give me a minute."
Yeah,
And I'm watching, I'm like, "There's no possible way this is happening." And even while I'm watching, I'm still getting mentions of, like, now mind you, this is mentions on X and on TikTok.
oh, jeez.
So I'm getting tagged left, right, and center. And I'm like, man, you know, but I think the best part about what I do with these videos is I'm me. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to really like try hard to do anything. I just do what I would normally say or do and put it out there, and people like that. So I don't have, I don't have some worries of some other people of like, oh, like I gotta say this like this, and I gotta do this like this. I just say it how it comes to my head, and it just so happens that the people that support me love it when it comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, you've got your token phrase, "Shut the fu."
Yeah.
I can't even do it. You gotta do it, not me.
Shut the fuck up. Man, I'll tell you this, like, the people who comment on my videos, like, I've got, like, 2 or 3 slogans that people just absolutely love, and that "shut the fuck up" was golden to them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
to the point now, like, I just when I make posts on X, I don't even say it anymore. I just let them know my slogan, man. You know what I mean? Which is wild to me. I never expected that to come out of this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? This was never a plan. I never had a plan to I mean, quote unquote go viral. Like, I'm just a normal dude trying to make it like everybody else. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
this was never in the plans.
Well, I think that's why you're so successful with it, right? And why you've seen, like you said, a month, and I don't know what you're at on TikTok, but you're at 7K and growing daily,
Which which
and
is
it's
wild.
yeah, and it's organic. You're being yourself. It's not um you can tell it's authentic, right? You can tell that you're not faking it. You're not, playing some part. Like it's truly you,
Right.
and you're definitely bringing in experiences. Like, I don't know about you. Like, so you said you're in Illinois. Like, I grew up in South Carolina,
Okay.
and so um, that plus, and I didn't grow up in like the nicest part of South Carolina either.
Yeah.
And then, like, so your mix of style takes me from South Carolina mixed with some training day with Denzel. Like that's where I picked it up, and I was like, because I found you about a month ago now, I guess, is when
Yeah.
I first started following you, like early on X.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I was seeing things from, like, you were porting them in from TikTok, I think.
Yeah,
But it was
well,
like right
the
after the inauguration.
yeah, the craziest part is, like, well, one, I was only on TikTok, you know, and in the span of a month, I think I'm sitting at like 205K followers on TikTok, which again is so crazy to me. Like, like, people tell me all the time, like, you should be at 1 million followers. I'm like, listen, I'm just happy to have what I have,
Yeah.
bro. You know what I mean? Like, I'm good with what I got now. Like, if that comes, that's cool. But when I started posting on TikTok, I had a bunch of people in my comments like, "Hey, uh, are you on X?" And I'm like, "Nah." And they're like, "Oh, well, I found you on X because, so and so posted you."
Mm,
And I'm like, "Posted me? How did they?" They take the videos from TikTok and they put it on X and whatever. And they were like, "You need to make an X." So I'm like, I mean, I'm making X. I'm not really like,
yeah.
I'm not too X savvy, right? But I jump on there, and um, I think the first couple days, um, it just was stale. You know what I mean? It's hard.
Yeah.
And then I actually had somebody on there who was posting my videos while I wasn't on there, and he found out that I came back. My boy Pickle uh found out I'm on X. And instead of continuing to take my content, he pushed my videos.
Nice.
So from there, it was like I gained traction just based off of somebody being a genuine person.
Yeah.
And from there, I, I think his goal his goal was to get me like to 1,000 followers in a day. And by the end of that day, I had 1,000 followers, man. So and then I found a dope little corner of X, and I just stuck to it, and I'm growing more and more and more on X. And I like X because you can say what you want to say on X. You know what I
Yep.
mean? I'm right now, even now, I'm being almost censored. People are messaging me saying that, they followed me 2 weeks ago. They've seen a video of mine again, and they're not following me anymore. So they had to refollow me.
Hmm. And
My
this is
stuff
on
wasn't.
X?
No, this is on TikTok.
Okay. Yeah,
This is on
TikTok
TikTok.
TikTok is ban happy for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm having some issues on TikTok, but that's not gonna slow up. Obviously, I'm still gonna keep going with TikTok, but I have a lot more fun on X because I can just say whatever I want. If I want to say something, that's what I'm gonna say. TikTok, you gotta really watch what you say.
Yeah, and that's our primary two platforms. Like we've been on X for a while, but we haven't been taking it seriously. Same with
Right.
Rumble, haven't been taking it seriously. We're going to start now, but our primary is YouTube and Instagram, and
Mhm.
we've been on there since 2019, and that's still nowhere close to where you are on TikTok, but like it takes time, and we have to watch what we say too. Like if I can't say the R word on YouTube or Instagram
Right.
because that's an instant strike.
Right.
But I could say it on X, and that's
Yep.
what's funny is like I don't know if you've seen it. There's a new account that just started up a couple days ago
Yeah.
called
Yeah, I seen it.
I
I
love
seen it.
that dude. That you
Like,
know
it's and that I think that's the best part about X, man. And I mean, uh, YouTube, people want me to get on YouTube. I started up a podcast a couple months back. And I did that for one episode, but I didn't find people that I thought were interesting, so I just kind of left it on the back burner. I just recently got into Instagram. Um, I had a barber page on Instagram,
okay,
and I think I only had like 1,000 followers on there. And I started posting my videos on Instagram, and now I'm at like 3,500 in a couple weeks. So like people are looking for my content, which is it's just a crazy thing to me to know that people are actively looking out for my content on different platforms. Like I'm telling you, man, I don't know if I'll ever get used to it. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
don't know if I'll ever get used to that.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm trying to envision right now you sitting outside the barber shop in your car. I got to imagine that like you're not parked around back,
Oh,
right?
oh
So
no,
there's
I'm parked around back. I'm
so you're
definitely
parked around
parked
back.
around back, 100%. But like it's a busy place, so you get cars all through the back. I probably look crazy to people. I
Well, that's what
definitely
I
look
was going to
crazy.
ask.
Yeah,
Are people
yeah,
just walking by going, "What the hell is this dude doing?"
yeah, yeah. And I mean, all the guys at my shop, they know what I do
Okay.
now. I tried to keep it under wraps for as long as I could, but eventually it got to them. So now when they pass me, like when they're going to lunch or whatever, they just hit the horn to, what I'm saying, to mess with me, and I'm like, bro, come on now.
Come on,
Um,
dude. That was a perfect
that
take
was
right
a
there. Now I got to
perfect
do it over
take,
again.
man. So I don't know, man. It's one of those weird things where I probably look crazy to people, but I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I look crazy to most people anyways with all the tattoos and everything else. So it ain't nothing new.
Are you getting to the point now where you get dudes coming in to get their cuts and then like recognize you too?
So not I mean, obviously my people already know who I am. Most of my clients are all regulars, but I have had a couple people that, come into the shop and they're like, I saw you on my For You page. And that's wild to me. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously you I'm trying to keep my internet life and my personal life separated for as long as I can, right?
Yeah.
Um, because if it, obviously it's going to continue to get bigger. Hopefully it continues to get bigger, and that's not going to be a thing. Once it gets to a certain point, people are gonna recognize you, and I'm just trying to like keep them separate for as long as I possibly can.
Yeah, I mean, that's tough. Obviously, I've got most people know me as Peaches, but I mean, you can easily find out, anything. So we kind of dropped for the three of us. We kind of dropped our persona a while back because we couldn't. We were trying to i- put information out, and we had to show actually who we are just based
Hmm.
off of like, okay, well, why would anybody listen to what we have to do? Because most of our content is trying to provide information about special operations and how
Yeah.
people can join and that kind of stuff. So, if you're just for us, if we were just some random persona,
Right.
people are like, well, why would the hell would I listen to you anyway? So, but for you, it totally makes sense. And I hope it works out for as long as possible because
Yeah.
I think you're going to be around for a while. I think you're right. Keep getting fed content,
I
and there
hope
you
so,
go.
man. I hope so. And I know for y'all it's like almost necessary, right? Cuz you see a lot of what's going on with a lot of these, vets that are coming on shows like the Sean Ryan show, telling these elaborate stories, and then it comes out that it didn't exactly happen like that. You know
Oh,
what I
you talk
mean?
about Tim Kennedy, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to put out I feel like at least, again, I've never served, you know what I mean? It is definitely an intriguing thing to me though, you know what I mean? Because of the respect that I have for the military. So,
yeah,
seeing stuff like that happen, I'm like, man, it's getting to the point where you almost have to, show your credentials
yeah.
because, everybody's questioning now.
Yeah, so okay, so that's interesting to me because um with Tim Kennedy in particular, like that was big in our community, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's massive. It was massive and it still is. And it's because, if I were to write a book, nobody that I worked with is going to read that. It's not
Right.
for them, right? Like,
Right.
why would I pick up a book about somebody that I already know? Like, so nobody really read it, and it's wild because that book's been out for a while now, and then everybody started picking it up, and the Anti-Hero podcast started talking about it, and then it just kind of caught fire, and everybody is like, dude, that's weird. So I understand why I would see that from my community, but how did you stumble upon that? Was it just kind of fed to you on social media, or did you?
Well, okay, not necessarily. So I'm a big podcast guy. Before I
Okay.
started making videos and doing stuff like that, I would watch podcasts, and my primary podcast of choice is the Sean Ryan show, right?
Okay.
Um, and he has mostly, vets that come in there, and specifically a lot of special operations guys. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? He's got a lot of SEALs and people of that nature. So that's really what jogged my curiosity on stuff like that. Um, and obviously Tim Kennedy has an episode on that podcast.
Yep.
So, obviously and he says a lot of, the crazy stories on there, right?
Mhm.
And, as a civilian, you hear it and everything sounds good. Now I haven't done too much research on whether it's fact or not, you know what I mean? But as a civilian, it all sounds good, you know. But once it gets out to the military community, that a lot of this stuff is either fabricated or embellished,
Yeah.
that's a big no-no in
Mhm.
in in the military community, especially in the special operations community. Because I feel like you guys hold each other to a higher standard than
Yep.
most. Um, and from watching the things that I've seen a lot of, things like, special operations guys eat their own. You know what I mean? Now I
Yes,
don't
we
know.
do.
Now again, I don't have any uh way of knowing that for sure. Like I said, because I've never been involved in it. But from what I'm getting from a lot of these places is that special operations eat their own, and it can get bad. So when that happened, I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna drag him for that. They're gonna
Yeah.
drag him for that.
Well, and there's a lot of things to it, right? And I think it's important to acknowledge that, like, Tim Kennedy has done good things, and if he had not embellished, he has an incredible story as it is. You're
100%.
Green Beret, you were a professional UFC fighter. Like, holy shit, dude. That is like, it's an incredible story. Just those alone. He's, been to combat and all that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, we do eat our own, and we are very critical of each other because, um, well, I guess because we try and hold each other to a higher standard. And then when somebody kind of does something like that, they get persona non grata, and then it's tough to get back in the fold. And I think I genuinely think that he could get back into the fold if he just came out and was like, you know what? Yeah, okay, got it. You got me. I was writing a book. It's just like writing a script for a
Right.
movie. I'm just trying to do.
Right.
And I think if he came out and said that, I think everybody'd be like, fine, cool. You acknowledge it. Now we can move on. Instead of the kind of doubling down and that kind of
Yeah.
double and
Because
tripling
I
down.
mean, it's for that the book is for civilians. Because like you said,
Yeah,
special operations guys don't make books to for other
for
special
other
operations
dudes.
guys to read, right?
No.
So obviously it's good content, especially if it's embellished. And that's not to take away from Tim Kennedy's career, because
Right.
like you said, I mean, the embellishment aside, if you just go listen to this man's career, it's insane. He's
Yeah.
got an insane track record. I mean, the dude is a monster. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And he's served his country. You know what I mean? You can't take that from him. But and again, to civilians, that doesn't really matter. The whole like embellishment side of it, because to civilians, it's just good reads. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, I can understand from a special operations standpoint of like you can't do that, man. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Doubling down never really gets you anywhere either.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that you can't take anything from him for his service and what he's done. You know what I mean?
Right. And obviously now I don't know, like I said, I'm following it, right? But he's had some major players in military, DoD, special operations in the firearms, like kind of drop him, right? Like said, nope, we can't do that. We're holding integrity higher than everything else, and we feel like he's betrayed us, so we're cutting him, and that's tough. And like I said, I don't wish any ill will on him. I just, like
Right.
everybody else has said, just come out and acknowledge it, and then
Yeah.
cool, we can move on.
I
Because even now he is responsible for 80% of recruits going into the army. 80%.
That's crazy.
Like, so what do you? So that point, like, I know people are like, well, just turn a blind eye to it because it's 80% of recruitment going into the army, but
Right.
then what are you saying? Are you saying it's okay to lie and do all this kind of stuff? Like, so what do you, like, hey, big army, what are you saying? Like, hey,
Right.
and then he's showing up to the White House and he's got a lot of politicians around him, which I don't trust politicians as it is. So, whatever. But
Yeah, it's
um
definitely a slippery slope. I kind of compare it to like sports figures, right? Let's take, basketball players. And a basketball player does something that's deemed not okay, right? His sponsors start to drop him. You know what I mean? Sponsors drop him, you get a lot of backlash. But the core fandom of that player still sticks around. You know what I mean? And you kind of have that same situation with him where, a lot of firearms companies are saying, we can't deal with you. You know what I mean? But you also still have his core community that's gonna stand by it no matter
mhm,
what. And I mean that's just kind of the thing about it. Um, when you double down on something, you kind of gotta die with the lie, because you have that one chance to come out and be like, all right, you got it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You got it. But it's a sticky situation.
it is, dude. It is, man. Um, and I'll tell you what, his homies that are loyal to him, they are 100% being loyal. They're not coming out in public and saying anything, which, you know, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know that either. Maybe just sitting quiet and letting blow it over, or letting him handle himself. Maybe that's the right answer. But it's just surprising to me that, because I know how big it is in our community, and I just
Right.
it's tough since I'm in it. It's tough to see how much of that spills out into kind of non-military people like yourself.
And I mean, I don't know how far it goes past me, right? Like, cause you know, if I would have asked people around me if they know who Tim Kennedy is, they have no idea who I'm talking about,
Yeah.
right? I don't know, man. It's just one of those things when I get interested in something, I like to dive in, man. And the military and the special operations community has always been really intriguing to me. And obviously, I didn't go and serve. So to go and listen to these guys who literally put their life on the line, and to hear about the crazy training that they had to go through.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's something that's not just physical. You gotta like your mental has to be different.
Yeah.
Uh, because I mean, when I'm watching, I'm like, some of these guys don't look, you know, too tall or too jacked or too this or too that, right? But from what I hear, most of the big swole buff guys, athletic, you know what I'm saying? Those are the guys that drop out first. You know
Oh
what
yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the guys who were told that you can't your whole life, that
Yeah.
really get in there and make it all the way through. And I have nothing but the highest respect for stuff like that.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, so most of the viewers will know that I'm 5'4", right? Like I'm
Right, right.
wicked short. Um, and I came in when I was 17 and I was 5'4", 140 pounds going through, and I was, we started with 120, 130 people. And as I'm looking down the pool, because we are heavy in the pool, and I'm looking down and I've got all these older dudes. Some are my age, right? But some are older. Some have been in the Air Force for a while. Some are Army Rangers that have crossed over into the Air Force, and they're all just not all of them, but a lot of them are jacked. And I'm sitting here going like, dude, I have no chance in the world. And then, to your point, it is 80% mental, 20% physical. And when they start dropping, now as a young 17, 18-year-old, I'm going, man, if they're quitting because it got hard, I've got no chance. But then as I keep going through, I'm just not quitting, not quitting. And by the end, there's 20, 15, 10, and you're like, oh, okay, well, maybe I do have it. And I know the movie stereotype is that all these dudes are, massive, tall, jacked,
Yep.
when in reality, most of them are on the skinnier side. Now, there are some monsters. There are some
Oh yeah.
absolute freaking monsters out there for sure. But a lot of it's skinnier guys, high in the cardio game and that kind of stuff. And they just happen to be strong as well. But it, they're kind of, they're not assuming, really, unassuming.
And it's so crazy to me to see it, right? Because the we have two eyes for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Looks matter to a lot of people, right? So when you look at somebody and you see that they're this just top tier specimen, you think that guy could make it, right? That guy could make it. And, you know, some of those guys do make it, but
Hmm.
it's not because of what they look like. It's because, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
what their mental's like the whole time. And I mean, just the fact that, because you like, I respect it so much because I was a quitter my whole life. You know what I'm saying? I'll pick something up, and if I wasn't good at it, I quit.
Hmm.
I quit, and that carried on for most of my life, up until now. So to see these guys go into this situation and be given every reason to quit. They give you, I
Yeah.
mean, they almost want you to quit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And have the willpower to do it and fight through it is something that I look up to. So I think that's a big reason why I got so invested in, military and specifically special operations
What
type people.
So you said up until recently you've kind of quit quit things that you weren't good at. So what
I'm
changed
sorry,
recently then?
you cut out for a little bit. Can you
Oh,
repeat
okay.
what you
No,
just
my
said?
bad. Um, so you said that recently you've learned not to quit on things. What was that change?
Um, well, okay. It started about a year ago. Um, I think I was sitting at 275 pounds. I hated my life. I hated myself. I was just not, I wasn't happy. I
Hmm.
wasn't happy at all. So you start to look, deep within yourself of like something's got to give. You know what I mean? Something's got to give. And when you deep dive and you really look back and you think you have quit every single thing in your life that got hard for you, you start to realize that I made that a pattern. And since it's a pattern, I can make it not be a pattern, right? So I ended up getting in I've been in the gym for a year. I'm down, 35 pounds.
Nice.
And the mentality that I gained from going to the gym, and obviously I still have a very long way to go. You know what I mean? And I mean, I don't think it ever stops. I don't think you're ever going
It
to be
doesn't stop.
100% happy with yourself. So, but that mentality of, you know, it, I don't want to go to the gym today, which is the main day I got to go, and I end up going. That's a win for me every day because normally before all this, I don't.
Yeah.
So it was a big turning point to me to be like, you even if you don't like it, you got to see it through. And
Yeah.
and the watching a lot of the special operations stuff, it it's almost like a reminder of they went through that, you can go through this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was big, and my mental is still not there. You know what I mean? I still struggle a lot, but I get up and I do the work every day, and that's
Yeah.
the difference.
Yeah. And dude, I'll tell you, since you're, a year into the gym life, gym rat kind of thing, like,
Hmm.
dude, I've been doing this for like, I've been in special operations for 25 years now, right? And there are still days that I wake up more often than not that I'm like, oh, God, not today. Like, just
Absolutely.
I can take a break. And you're 100% right. Those are the days that it's like, nope. Out of all the days, today is the day that I got to get up,
Hmm.
because I know at the end of the day, if I haven't worked out or trained in some kind of way, I'm gonna feel like shit. But
Absolutely.
as soon as I do it, even if it's I'm not able, because of whatever reason, I'm not able to put out 100% because I got 3 hours of sleep. So I
Right.
can't run as fast as I could, or I can't squat as much as I did, or whatever it is. At least I can do it 50% and I did something. I accomplished something. And I don't know when you train, but I train in the morning. So, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day for me.
I train whenever I can get in there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just because it all varies for me. Um, like I told you today, I'm going on 3 hours of sleep, a full day's work, and a Bang energy drink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it all change. It varies for me. But I mean, I adopted uh a saying that I seen randomly from somebody, and it's 1% is better than 0%,
Yep.
right? So even if I hate everything about my being that day, and I don't want to go anywhere and I don't want to do anything, even if I go in the gym and do something, 1% is better than 0%.
Yep.
So that's kind of been a thing for me. You know what I mean? And I feel like it's helped me not just with the not quitting aspect, but mentally. You know what I mean? Getting in the gym is good for your mental, which is why I push everybody who wants, to be better. Go to the gym and do something. Go to
Yeah,
the
man,
gym and
that's
walk.
awesome. And the fact that you kind of are thinking about like, well, hey, if those dudes could go through this, then I can do this. I mean, that's the whole kind of premise behind the hero workouts of the day that CrossFitters do, right? They have programmed, and they do those, and on those days generally it means a lot more. And that's the whole point, is to get you thinking like, well, dude, this person would you know, if they were alive, would 100% do this
Mm-hmm.
workout and they give their 100%. The least I can do, since they're not able to, is I can do it.
100%.
And it just makes it mean more, you know?
100%. And I mean, I think another huge thing that I picked up from like the special operations community is, for, at least from what I've watched, you correct me if I'm wrong on anything I ever say. You correct me if I'm wrong. This is your
I
specialty,
will. You're
right?
good, dude.
Um, Even when you got to the point, like, you know, let's say, say a SEAL, right? SEAL goes through, you know, their SEAL training, and you know, they make it through. Just because you earned that means it means nothing.
Yep.
It's day zero at that point. You still have to earn it every single day, right? So I like to think about that. Like I've lost, you know, the weight that I've lost, and I've done what I've done, and whatever. And yeah, you know, building these kinds of things, these kinds of um, patterns is good, but you got to earn it every day.
Yep. Oh, you're
You know,
100% right. Just like,
yeah, you
even
know
if
what I
you
mean?
equate it to you being a great barber, right? Like,
Hmm.
if you just phoned it in, you're like, yeah, man, it's good.
Right.
Like, you can't do that. Rent is due every fucking day. That's it, man. And it doesn't stop. And as soon as you think that you made it, is when you're gonna start slipping. You're gonna get comfortable, and then you start gonna get, you know, um, you're just gonna lose that edge, you know. And it's unfortunate, and it's, man, I this is wild for me, because I'm serious, because all of our, not all of our guests, but most of our guests and most of the conversations we have are based in this kind of world. So uh, you're kind of one of, like, maybe 5 guests that we've had that are not kind of part of this world, and
Hmm.
it's fascinating that, like, unprovoked or unhinting, you know, I did, like, that you're on board with this, and that you're familiar with this, and it's great to see, because I live it, and I think it's fantastic. Obviously, I have for 25 years, but uh, to see somebody else pick it up, and we're like, yeah, man, I believe in it, and I freaking, I try and live by it. Like, it's really cool for me.
Man, yeah, I don't know, man. Again, I don't know how it happened. It just happened. It happened to be that I got involved in learning about, you know, the special operations community, and the things that they do, and the crazy stuff that they, you know, they get to go through. Like, I was just watching something the other day about SEER school,
Yep.
right? And the things that you have to go through in SEER school, you know, it's real world application for special operations guys. And to hear what you have to go through. I mean, I think there was a story somebody said where, like, somehow they got some information about what lane they were going to be in.
Hmm.
They ended up burying food in the lane
Yeah.
and were able to survive SEER school. But there was one dude that, you know, didn't want any part of it, you know, and they got to the end, and he ended up, you know, ratting out, yeah, you know, everybody else on the team. And everybody else stuck to their guns, right? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. And at the end of it, you know, they were wrong for essentially cheating, right?
Yeah.
But they all still made it. And the dude who ratted his team out didn't. He had to start over, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff is fascinating to me, right? Because it lets me know, like, even sometimes when you're wrong, you're right,
Yeah.
right? You did something like burying food, you know, that it's unfair to other contestants, but you stuck by your brothers,
Yep.
and that's good, and that's good enough for us, right? Because I mean, these are the dudes that you're putting your life on the line for, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's a crazy thing to try and grasp as a civilian who's never been through it.
So here's something funny, is based off of what you were talking about, right? Is um I don't know, a week or two ago, I did a live Instagram where I'm just answering questions, frequently asked questions from people that want to join. And somebody said, hey, how can I'm not I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to eat enough during basic training because you're on a truncated timetable, and everybody talks about how much weight they lose during basic training. And the way it works for us is you go through basic training and then you go to selection. So you kind of you're leaving almost at peak form, and then you're not eating well, you're not sleeping well for 7-8 weeks, then going into selection. So it's not ideal. So he goes, "Hey, hey, how can I like get more food during basic?" And I was like, well, I'm not necessarily telling you to do this, but maybe I would hide some food,
Right. Right.
right? And that is definitely against protocol there. That you do risk getting recycled or washed back, and somebody commented and said, dude, I used to respect you. I can't believe you would tell somebody to lie and cheat their way through this. I get it that if you're not treating, you're not cheating, you're not trying, kind of thing. But I can't believe you would actually tell somebody and recommend to somebody to hide food, knowing that they could get recycled or washed back or something like that. And I'm like, so I was thinking about it, but I'm like, man, dude, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yep.
And if you know the risk and you're accepting the risk, then you do it. And I get it. Not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but I got called out for it. Like, not, I mean, by one
Yeah. I mean,
dude, like
right. Right.
whatever, right?
Right.
But it's wild. And to your point, your story, you have got to stick to your guns, and you got to look out for everybody else. If you don't look, and even if you decide like, hey, I'm not looking out for, or the way I'm going to look out for everybody else is I'm going to narc on
Right.
myself so
Right.
that I'm the one that takes the heat. Like, okay, that's fine too. That's still honorable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and dude, I got some wild seer stories, but like some of them we can't talk about
Right.
because
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
to maintain the integrity of that
Of
course.
course.
But
Yeah. Because I mean, there's a lot of different things that people shouldn't know going
right,
into that school, right?
yeah,
And I mean, especially in a place like Sear School, where dying with the lie is like mandatory. You know what I mean? Because you get to the end, you know, when you get caught, and I mean, I'm sure there's been people who make it all the way to, I don't know if it's 2 weeks or 3 weeks without being caught. I mean, at the end, you're still gonna get caught and go through what everybody else who got caught went through,
yes,
right? And the biggest thing is you gotta die with the lie because it could cost the life, of your brother, right?
yeah,
So the second you go against that, you're wrong. You're wrong for doing this, but you're definitely wrong for snitching on these dudes. You know what I'm
oh,
saying? Like,
yeah. You're way
oh yeah, that's
outside of it.
overweight. Because I mean, you got to think about it like this. Even in your story, right? Like, it if you are gonna go to this length to hide food, right? Just so you can make it, it's wrong that you're doing that. But at the same time, I mean, it shows what won't you do to be a part of this.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? What won't you do for that?
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, you know the risk of hiding food and that kind of stuff, but it's it, the other part of that SEER stuff that you're referring to that most people don't see is, SEER school, for at least for the Air Force, is 3 weeks. We get air crew that come through there, so pilots, people that fly in the back of the planes, helicopter pilots. You get a bunch of people that roll through there, but for us, we go through additional SEER stuff later on. Like some of them is we just call it advanced ass beatings, right? So at this one they can actually like touch you for
Right.
real. Like
Right.
at this SEER school that everybody else goes to, they can like open hand slap you around a little bit, but like this advanced ass beatings is it's real, you know, and well it's real, but
Right. Right.
um but those are actually the ones that are easy or easier. Yeah. It's easy to I can just get the shit bit out of me and it's like, okay, cool, whatever. Like
Right.
it's the ones that come in that are really nice and really manipulative that you're like, oh man, this is difficult. And then there's other ones that will have where, say, you don't know that you're in it. That's what's wild. You don't know you're in it. You land in Chicago at the airport, and as soon as you exit the plane, there's sheriffs and somebody there, and they pull you off to the side and they go, "Give me your wallet, give me your phone, give me everything, and you have 15 minutes. They'll let us catch you," kind of thing. And
See, that's
you
wild.
have to be at this place. Like you have 48 hours to be at X place. And then they're like, clock's ticking. And then you boom, you're going, right? And it's evading and it's hiding, and you
Mm-hmm.
got, a place like Chicago and stuff like that. I'm not saying you're in Chicago, but you said Illinois. So
Yeah, yeah.
like there's cameras everywhere. You don't have you're allowed to keep whatever cash you have on you, but you don't, even if they allow you to keep your wallet, you start running cards. Like that's easy.
Oh yeah, you're caught.
Yeah, so like those things, and it's fantastic and it's fun, but it's super hard.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just there's so many different things that people go through, and obviously, I'm not sure is SEER school uh mandatory for any special operations?
Yep. Yep.
Okay,
And
so that's
each,
across
like, the
all.
Navy has its own, the Army has its own.
Okay,
Like for the Army Green Berets, it's called Robin Sage, and the
yeah,
town that they do this in, it's not on a base. Like the town is read in on everything that goes on, and they know what's going on and they know how they're supposed to act. And so they bring the citizens in on the bit. Like it's
that's
awesome.
man, bro. When I
Yeah.
when I tell you, that's what I'm saying. There's so many like, I call them rabbit holes. I mean, obviously, it's not a rabbit hole. It's public information, but I mean, it's as far as how the public information that you can see. There's a lot
Yeah.
of stuff behind the tape that civilians can't see. But I look at all these schools and I see all these different things that these guys have to go through. Um, and it fascinates me because, like I said at the start, if they can get through this, I can get through getting up and going to the fucking gym. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like there's no excuse at that point. There's no excuse at that point. I can go to the gym if this dude can go to this, SEER school for 3 weeks and get put through hell. You know what I'm saying? Or go through a selection. You know, especially it selection is like made to break you, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just one of those things that gets my mind going of like whenever I have one of them days, it's like these dudes, these dudes ain't quit. You're not allowed to quit.
Yeah.
Um, and again, this is not it's not really something that I talk about with most people, right? Because most I don't really have my best friend, he's a vet um in the army, but like my friends, like normal friends don't know military stuff to even be able to have these conversations with. So it's kind of dope for me to even just talk to somebody from that community about these kinds of things and get, you know, is this
Yeah.
right? Is this wrong? Is this right? Is this wrong? It's dope. It's definitely dope.
Well, like conversely, dude, like I said, it's wild to talk to somebody who's outside of it, but knows. Like you kind of surprised me by bringing up SEER school. Like,
Yeah, man. I'm telling
like
you, I don't went through the whole, man. You know what I mean? That SEER school and sniper school were the
yeah,
two that really stuck out to me. Um, and SEER school just because it's at least in my mind is super unconventional to like a civilian to go through something like this, right? But it's practical for special operations because it's a real thing that could happen to you. You know what I mean?
yeah, oh yeah,
You get
and
separated, you're gonna need to know how to survive, and if you get captured, you're gonna need to know how to survive that too. So it's like it's one of those things where it's fascinating to me, man. I can't lie.
yeah, and I'll tell you, like I said, maintaining the integrity of the course. There is something that happens at Air Force Survival School that it doesn't matter whether you're kind of you don't like. I don't want to say you're less American, but like you, even if you're not the type of person that like bleeds red, white, and blue, there's something that happens at the end of Air Force survival school where you're just like, dude, almost everybody's got a proud red, white, and blue tear, you know, coming down their eye, and there's bald eagles squawking, like where you're just like, fuck, dude, I am so proud to be an American, and it's really cool. So
Yeah, I didn't expect to like I don't obviously it happened organically. So I didn't even expect to go down the you know what I'm saying? The
no, it's
the
good, dude.
special
It's good.
operations stuff. It's dope, man. That's a big reason why um I responded so quickly to your DM about coming in here, right? Because
Yeah,
I haven't really had the chance to talk to people in the special operations community. So I've only seen what I seen in videos and podcasts and things like that. Um, it's dope.
yeah,
I
man.
can't stop saying it. It's dope.
No, it's all good, dude. And like I'm when you said that you hadn't been on a podcast yet, I'm like, dude, that's fantastic. I'll take it. And so, well, what's next for you then?
What's next? Um, I guess what's next is continuing to elevate my videos. Um, continuing to learn more. In X, I kind of got in you know almost abducted into the 2A corner of X. So I want to you know go through firearms training, and I want to go see the things that I haven't seen before. I talked about on X about visiting homesteads and different gun ranges, just for the simple fact that, like, in Illinois you don't really have too many options
Mm,
as far as gun ranges go. You have your standard stall with a range master, and you fire single shots, and you can't. There's no rapid fire. There's no, you know what I
yeah, yeah.
mean. There's no move and shoot, stuff like that. So really, it's just gonna be elevating my content and then moving into different horizons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like I was worried about whether I could keep this up.
Well, and I think what you're going to, in my opinion, what I think you're going to find is that you're going to keep like things are going to continue to happen, and there's going to be a higher demand, a higher like, dude, why don't you talk? I mean, like you're already experiencing it, right? And that's it's what's the point of at what point do you go, okay, this is what I do now full time, and because you don't have time for everything else, you know, and I don't know what that number is. Like there's a guy that I watch on YouTube because like I mentioned before we started recording, like I lived in the UK for 8 years, and there's a guy on YouTube that rides rides his bicycle around freaking London, and he's got 275,000 followers making good money, I'm sure, and he still does his job as an electrician. So I'm like, well, I don't even know what the number is to where you're like, all right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna stop and do this.
yeah. I mean, cause like now that I've been doing it for a full month, I'll probably see my first bit of money from TikTok. And I think the biggest thing for me is, I see a lot of these content creators on TikTok that go and basically damn near beg for money in
Mm,
these things. People do the TikTok shop and they do this and they do that. I don't do any of that. The only money that's coming to me is through TikTok views. So I'm not promoting anybody's products for money. I'm not doing any of that. So everything that I'll be making from that will be solely based off of views. I've had requests to, they have like battles on TikTok, right? Where like your community
really?
versus their community, who can send the most money. Like that it's just the biggest fuck you to your community that you can do in my eyes, right?
Right.
Now, people call themselves fans. I don't like to call people fans. I call them supporters, right? I will never go to my supporters and be like, hey, you know, we're gonna go over here. You guys are gonna send me money, and we're gonna win this. Like, how does that look? You know what I mean? How does
Hmm.
that look? So, I feel I don't know what that number would be for me, uh, because I love what I do, and I have regular clients that I've been cutting for many years. I mean, I've been cutting hair 11 years now, so
Nice.
I have clients that I've carried through. There's some that I've even had the entire 11 years I've been cutting hair. So
That's awesome.
I don't think I'd ever give it up completely. Um, at a certain point, would I cut back hours and would I cut back days and dedicate more time to content? Because I'll tell you this, man, it's not easy right now to work a full-time job, go and do research, get accurate things, in research, go to work on your lunch break, record, record the video throughout the day, edit the video, post the video, finish your day, like and respond to a bunch of people. I like to do that because I don't want nobody to feel like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not interacting with my people, because without these people, like I really I wouldn't be shit. Really, you know what I mean?
Yep.
These people are the people that even make me relevant in this content creation game, right? And then after that, spend some time, with the girlfriend, and then do more research for the next day's video, and then rinse and repeat. So it gets to be a struggle to keep that up. And I mean, I think I take one day off of making videos. It's usually a
You fall
Sunday.
behind.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a Sunday off, but as of recently, like, I've been doing it every single day. So it gets to be a struggle. So you do come to that point where you're like, man, what would it take for me to, step not step completely away from cutting hair, but what would make me put cutting hair as a side hustle and bring content creation forward? And I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm just on the ride. I'm on the ride, and I'm waiting to see where it goes, and wherever it goes, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're launching. Uh, it's not live yet, right? Your merch.
It's not live yet. I do have so I have a local guy who's gonna be doing my hats. He's a supporter, and the big dilemma with that was finding American made.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, you
It's
know,
tough, man.
it's tough. It's real tough,
And the
and I
price goes up if that's, you
a
know.
lot,
Mhm.
a lot. So I was struggling with, like, man, should I just put out a run of, foreign made, and until I get the American made? And luckily, I ended up finding American made hats. So he's in the process of that. Sometime this weekend, I'll probably be setting up pre-orders for hats. For the shirt, I'm going through a company called American Lichter. Um, they are 100% American made,
Nice.
and that's kind of where I want to keep it. Um, I feel like it's on brand for me. I brought this up to my ex community, and they're like, this is what you're preaching. You preach America first in what you're doing, and it's so crazy because even in a funny video, you can preach America first.
Mhm.
So if that's what you want to be, you should stick to your brand. And I was like, man, you're not wrong. You're not
Yeah.
wrong. So it's taken me a little longer to get merch out because I want to, do it American made. And obviously it's at a higher price point. So coming up with the additional funds to make up for that is a struggle in itself, and I've had people reach out like, listen, do like a Kickstarter, or do like, I'll donate some money to you, or this and that. I feel like if I don't have it to do it, I'm not going to take money from other people so that I can do it.
No,
Right?
I understand that.
It's one of those things. So I want to get the merch out, and I want to get it out the right way, um, with the right branding, which is American made. So hopefully this kicks off and I can start getting merch out within the next couple weeks, because these people are beating my ears off about it. You know what I mean? Like
That's all I'm hearing about.
that's it, man. It's just it's all in my ear. So hopefully it gets kicked off soon.
Okay. Well, my last kind of question for you then is, because our demographic is 15 to 35-year-olds that are wanting to
Hmm.
join special operations. So you definitely don't have to target it at that, right?
Yeah.
But just like, what kind of advice would you give to people that are kind of wanting to get into, whether it's content creation, whether it's becoming a barber, whether it's getting into a gym, because you've been in the gym the last year, but you spent a lot of portion of your life not doing that. So like, how, wherever you want to take it, what kind of advice would you give the folks?
So okay, let's I'll do it. We'll do a 3-parter here, right? So the gym, the gym is very simple. Go. Don't think about it. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't put a date on it. Don't, maybe, I'll start this week, or I'll start. Go get a membership and go, because you'll never, you'll never keep it up if you think about going, right? You have to get in there. From my experience, the first 21 days are going to be the hardest. They say, I think it's like 21 days before you create a habit out of something, right? Or you got to
Yeah.
do something like 21 or 23 times, something like that. You just got to go. Um, that's the only way you're going to train yourself. And once you go, that first day you go is not a hoorah. It's the third day that you go after you are fucking, you know what I'm saying? You are just like, everything hurts, right?
Hurts.
And you still go, that's when you
Yep.
know. You know what I mean? That's when you know. For people who wanted to get into the barber game, right now it's a very hard time to get into the barber game, because everybody is getting into the barber game.
Hmm.
Way back when, barbering wasn't even really looked at as like a serious career. It was looked at as like side hustle or whatever. People started realizing that you can actually make money cutting hair. So now everybody and their mama is trying to cut hair.
Hmm.
You got 15, 16-year-old kids who are charging $100 to cut hair in their garage.
That is wild.
You know what I mean? So to get into the barber game, I would say do it the right way. Learn your craft. Get into a shop. Get into a shop that takes walk-ins. You can work off a commission. So, it could be 50-50, 70-30, whatever the shop is doing, and get reps in. Get your reps in and learn everything that you need to learn with every type of hair that you possibly can do. Because it's not enough to just know how to cut one type of hair. Because it's a thing too. I mean, you got, Hispanic barbers that only cut Hispanic hair because that's what they
Hmm.
know. Black barbers that only cut black hair because that's what they know. But nowadays, you need to have a bunch of tools in the bag. So get your reps in, learn your customer service, and you got to have a personality. I've known barbers who are terrible at cutting hair, but they have a great personality and they know how to talk to people, and they still get people to come back.
Damn.
So the barber game is the barber game is evolving. It's not just about cutting good hair anymore. So really get your reps in, really care about the people you're cutting. And most of them, even if you're just starting and you fuck somebody up, most of them, as long as you give them a good personality and a good conversation, they will come back to you and let you try again.
Nice.
And content creation, I wish I could give tips on content creation, because I'm gonna tell you this, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. You're
Right?
just doing it.
I don't know what I'm doing, bro. I really don't. I get in the car and I record myself with my I just record myself saying shit. I put it together. Okay, what I will say, I like I said, I don't know how, a lot of people want to know how you go viral. I don't know. I don't know because I didn't plan this shit. I don't know what's going on. What I will say is keep your quality high. Learn how to edit your videos. Learn how to uh make it enjoyable for people in your editing. Because you see a lot of people who are trying to do content creation that will just sloppily do something. No, take time to learn an editing software. Learn your lighting angles. Learn what's appealing to people. If you're recording from your phone, I record from my phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the sound quality isn't that great, but don't make it worse. There's times where I've scrapped an entire section of something and redid it because I have air blowing through
Yeah.
the mic. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to get into content creation, learn how to edit and really put some time into your videos. Don't throw a video together because people can see that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People can see when you just throw shit together. I get a lot of comments on my videos where it's like, man, I could tell you took the time on this video. And that means something to people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It
Um,
does.
and just keep it you, man. Keep it
Yeah.
you and
The
don't
the only
don't
thing
don't
I
quit
would
trying.
add to that is hit record.
Yeah.
Like, don't it like I remember being the kind of like, I had some trepidation about hitting that record button, and it's, it can be daunting, and that's just record. Now you start going like, let me hit the YouTube live or the Instagram
Yep.
live or the Twitter live where you can't edit, you can't take anything back. And it's like, dude, that is another level. So I'd say I would only add, um, don't be afraid to hit the record button. Just hit it and go.
Yeah. There's a big reason why I rarely do TikTok lives anymore, and it's because I can't control my mouth. So
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
dude.
And I don't want to get it taken down. So it just hit record. And I think the last thing that I will say for content creation is something that you can apply to life that I've taken for myself is be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep.
It's the only way you're gonna learn. It's the only way you're gonna actually get stuff done. And it's okay to fail in that aspect sometimes, but it's never okay to quit, which is what I'm dealing with myself, which is why I try to do everything to not quit, whether something sucks or not. So just get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Well, dude, I can't follow up with that. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on X. You can find me on TikTok. Those are the three that I main right now. YouTube will be coming, but I don't have anything planned for YouTube at the moment. So you can find me on there. You can search up either Grimsy News or Grimsy IIX on any of those platforms. And yeah, come say what's up.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Well, dude, it's been a privilege and an honor to actually talk to you. Like, this conversation totally went somewhere where I did not expect it to go. So I
Yeah,
really enjoyed it. So thanks for coming on. Thanks for being
absolutely.
willing to coming on, especially with just some random jagaloon freaking hitting you up and going like,
Right.
"Hey, why
Yeah,
don't you come on
yeah.
a
Right,
podcast?"
right, right.
Especially when we have like zero following on X. So,
Yeah.
um, man, I do appreciate it. And to everybody else that's out there, so keep everybody out there, keep an eye out for Grimsy's, sorry, merch that are going to be launching pretty soon. And then head over to ONESREADY.com. Check out all of our partners that we have over there, to include our own merch. And then don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that review, and then do us a favor. It'd be great. All right, we're out here. Later.
Yep.